it comes. Oh, no, don't record yet, please. You can start recording. Can you see my screen? It says Zoom. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, we can.
We can.
Okay, right. So I just bring my notepad. So I will be working mainly from my notepad actually for today. Today is going to be basic introductory. We're not going to do much. We may not use anything other than this notepad today. But moving forward, we would be using the a database server. Right. One moment. So let's ask the question, what is SQL? Who can tell us the full meaning of SQL? What does it mean? Those of you who have done some SQL, what do you understand by SQL? What's the full meaning? What does it stand for? Who can tell us what it stands for? What does it mean? I'll be asking questions, so please give me answers.
Structured query language.
Okay, that's fine. Structured query language, that's what it is. Structured query language. That is the full meaning of SQL, structured query language. Now, SQL, like I said, is a standardized programming language. It is a standardized programming language for managing and manipulating relational databases. For managing and manipulating. Now, the reason why I don't come with slices is because most of, let's say 95% of the work we will be doing will be practicals. So I don't see the reason why I should just prepare slides for 5% or maybe 2-3% actually. It's going to be very, very practical. For managing and manipulating. Manipulating relational. So that is the introduction of another word, relational databases. Databases. So what does this tell you? When we say it's for managing and manipulating relational databases, what immediately comes to mind here? Yep. Can anybody give us a hint? What is a relational database? Now, if we say there is something called a relational database, then there should be the opposite, right? There should also be the case where there will be databases that are not relational. So we will have a brief look at that also. Right. So what is a relational database? Who can tell us what it is? Those of you who've done some SQL.
I think
Pardon?
is to my knowledge, I think is data that has I'll just use samples, data that has no pictures, no videos, that has a relation anyway. Am I correct?
Data that has no pictures, no videos.
Like, how will I say it? It's it has a relation. It has a relation. How will I say it? I don't even know how to put my words, but I know.
Okay. Anybody to help her? Anybody to help out?
Yes,
It's a
for
data
what?
that have relationships.
Who is
Basically,
speaking?
they have things in common.
Pardon?
Babajide is speaking.
Okay, Babajide. Yes. Babajide, are you coming for are you just joining?
No.
Okay.
I told you, you were asking, you were asking me about the DA behind my name. What is
Oh,
it about?
okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes. So tell us what do you understand by relational database?
Relational database is basically when the set of data has some sets of the data are related are related in a way.
All right. So if I have pictures of somebody, same pictures, they will be related, right?
Same pictures of somebody.
For example, if I have a file with your pictures, they're all related, aren't they?
Just pictures, no names.
Yeah, just your pictures and maybe your name. Or maybe pictures of you and your siblings. That will be related. You'll be related. Those will be related, wouldn't they?
They should be.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they will be related from the method.
Okay, but will they be a relational database?
They should be related from the metadata from the probably the picture.
They'll be related from what?
Looking at the metadata of the
Another
picture.
language.
Probably
We have
the
some
picture
big people on this platform.
Sorry.
Metadata. Okay, cool. That's all right. Go on.
An example is like it will have a row and column, something like
Okay,
that.
cool. I like that. We are getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. Right. Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, pardon?
I want to chip in something regarding
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They are the table because every database has tables and
Point of correction, that is very incorrect.
Oh, okay. So the tables, okay, the collection of tables in a database, the way they are linked to each other. For example, the primary key in a particular I don't know whether it's table now. I may not use the right word.
Okay, you see, we are just introducing this topic.
Okay.
So let's come down to basics.
Okay.
And actually, that's the way I do my teaching. I like to start from what we know to what we don't know. That's why I ask questions. Yeah? Let's start from, so when you start bringing in primary key, somebody who's not done database or programming may not know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah? Right, okay. But we are all familiar, for example, with an Excel sheet. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are all familiar with somebody said columns and rows, and I like that. That's why I said I like that. Somebody said pictures and videos. And the way the person put it, the person was not completely wrong, but the person was not correct either. Because the person was trying to answer the question from, let's say, back to front, not front to back. If you get what I'm trying to say. Reverse. The person was trying to use reverse better for me to put it like reverse psychology, a reverse kind of method of answering the question. Right. So a relational database simply is a database that can be put into rows and columns to form a schema of rows and columns. That is what is called a relational database. Now, if you have something like pictures, videos, those things cannot be put in rows and columns. So they don't form a relational database. Those are the non-relational databases. Those ones form non-relational databases. So for example, if you take pictures and you post on Facebook, Facebook has got storage for all those data, pieces of data that you post on your Facebook account, and also the videos, but they are not stored in relational databases. They are stored in non-relational databases. And most of these non-relational databases are known as NoSQL. NoSQL, that is another way to say NoSQL is non-ordered SQL. It doesn't follow any particular order, right? It doesn't follow any particular order, right? But a relational database follows a particular and a specific order, and that is what we will be looking at. We will not be touching on NoSQL. We will be dealing with relational databases. So the relational databases are mainly SQL. They are manipulated and queried and managed using a language called SQL. Right? Now, to be able to manage and manipulate relational databases, you need the database in a system called who can give us the full meaning of this? DBMS?
Database management system.
Database management system. Database management. There are many of them. There are many database management systems. We have SQL Server Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio, which is what we will be using. We have DB2. We have Postgres SQL. Etc. And this one will be, I think this one is MongoDB. MongoDB. Somebody check, is it Mongo or MongoDB? I think it's MongoDB. Right. Now, so let's look at SQL. These are just the various things that we'll come across these things as we go. We will delve into some of these. as we go along. So the two main things we would actually be looking at here is SQL and then SQL Server Management Systems. There is also this common management system, MySQL. A lot of people use that now, MySQL. Yeah, so these are some of the database management systems that we'll be using. Now, SQL is a very, very portable language. What does that mean? It's portable. Who can tell us what that means? When we say a programming language is portable, what does it mean?
It doesn't collect that much information, like large data.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
What it means is that, you see, for example, SQL Server is a management studio. DB2 is a management studio. PostgreSQL is a management studio. MySQL is a management studio. SQL, which is the language, works well on all these management systems. So it can be used on this, it can be used on that, it can be used on that, it can be used on that quite well and effectively too. With maybe slight differences in syntax, that's all. So using it, if you're able to use it on one, that means that you can use it on many others. Does that make sense? That is why we say it is portable. Right. So we know that it's a structured query language, right? Structured query language. So let's look at it. So it has a structure. It has a structure. It has queries, and it is also a language. So let's break down the words. Or rather let me do it from the back. Language. Language. What do we mean by language or query? Let me combine query language, query and language. Query language. There are different forms of query languages used in SQL. Different forms. We have what is called data. Data query language. Data query language. We have data definition language. We have data manipulation language. We have data control language. And we have transaction control language. So all these are subsets of SQL. All of these here are subsets of SQL. Right. Now, data query language. In SQL, there is only one. Okay, so all these languages are controlled by what we call keywords. All these languages are controlled by keywords. The keyword for data query language is the select keyword. Select. Now, select also happens to be the most used keyword in SQL. There is no other keyword in SQL that is used more than the select keyword, which is why when somebody said she knows select, I said she knows everything. Select is the most used keyword in SQL. Now, data definition language. This is used in define. So the data query language, as you know, is used in querying data. Let me use in querying data. Querying data. Keyword is data definition language. Is used in defining and modifying data. Modifying data. And the words for this particular data definition would be words like create, alter, and drop. These are the key data definition keywords. Data manipulation language. What are the keywords? Now, so these are used for manipulating, mainly used for manipulating and managing data within a schema. So when I talk about a schema, I'm talking about a relational database here. So all these are used in relational databases. We don't use these in non-relational databases, okay? So data manipulation use for managing. Managing data in a schema. Now, what are the words? Select again is one of the words here. Select. Insert. Update. And delete. Data control language. Now, these are words that are used in giving access privileges. Access privilege. Privileges. So it can be used in giving access privilege or to revoke or remove access privilege. So the words here are grant and revoke. These are the key words for data control languages. Now, transaction control language used mainly for managing transactions within a database. Used for managing transactions within a database. So let's go back to the normal buying and selling, right? When you go to the shop and you've bought your stuff and you get to the till and the cashier has scanned all your stuff through the scanner, what then do you do? After everything has been scanned, can somebody give us what you do? Hello?
You pay.
You pay. You pay. Good. So what word can you use to describe that action of payment?
Transaction or something, do you want something else?
I want another word. It's a transaction, but I want another word.
Exchange.
Well, how will you describe that act?
Exchange.
It's an exchange, but I still want another word. Another word that goes more with programming. You commit, you've made a commitment. You commit to the purchase. You commit to the purchase. Right? So you've made a commitment. Now, assuming you have made a commitment, and then all of a sudden, you see that you don't like an item that you have bought, what can you ask the cashier to do?
Exchange or return. You return.
Yeah, so return the item. And then what will the cashier do once the item has been returned? Or what can the cashier do?
Initiate a refund.
Initiate a refund. Beautiful. Initiate a refund. How will you describe that in computing terms? You do a rollback. Rollback. So transaction languages are commit and rollback. Okay, these are the languages, these are the key words that we shall be using. Funny enough, the only keywords we shall use. Now, you would have been told by, I'm not sure if he has told you yet, but he would definitely tell you at some point, Mr. Emmanuel, that as a data analyst, you do not own the data. Have you been told that already? Yes, no?
No, not yet.
Okay, you will be told that as a data analyst, you don't own the data. You are only given data that is already in existence, and your only job is to manipulate the data with a view to generating insights. So most of these words that we have just gone through, whilst they are good for you as data analysts to know, most of them are not words that you will be using. So who can tell me, looking at the words we have, what do you think would be the most common word that you would use?
The data query language, that's the keyword selects.
Keyword
Create
select.
after.
As a matter of fact, that is the only word that you will be using. That is the only data manipulation or data control language that you will be using, select. And now it comes with other words, and all of these keywords come with other keywords, but we are talking about the main keywords here, right? So this is the only one. Now, you want to create a database. It is not your job as a data analyst to create a database. It will be the job of the data administrator to create a database. It is not your job to alter or drop a database. In fact, dropping a database is a serious issue. It is worse than to delete. Now, it is also not your job to insert or update a database. Grant or revoke, you don't have that privilege to grant people rights to a database. You are, as a matter of fact, granted rights to a database, and those rights could be revoked. You don't also have any business with committing and rollback. Those are for the data administrator or front user people who are dealing with general transactions on the database. But yours is to interrogate the database with a view to generating or creating insights so as to help management make decisive and what other word should I use? Oh, let me just say, so as to help management make decisions. Right? So the main word that you will be using will be the select keyword. But this also has a structure. The select keyword itself has got a structure that it needs to follow. But before we get to that, let me just also say a few things. So SQL is made up of a number of words, as you have already seen. These keywords here are called reserved words. So SQL is made up reserved words and reserved. Let me see if I can this be? Okay. And user defined words. User defined words. So we have reserved words and user defined words, right? Now, what do we mean by reserved words? All these, select, create, alter, drop, they are keywords, they are reserved words. There are other reserved words that go with these keywords, right? And we would see the structure of a data manipulation, the structure of data manipulation commands. Right. So if we say that SQL is made up of reserved words and user-defined words, what do you think would be a user-defined word? Yep, anybody? What do you think would be a user-defined word?
Could it be conditions?
Not necessarily. No, not did I say not necessarily? I don't, not at all. It's not conditions. Right. So like the name implies, user defined. These are words that the user themselves have added to make their command meaningful. Right? We will come across a few of those in a little while. So these are words that the user themselves would have added to the command so that it adds more meaning. So for example, when I say select, select what? What are you selecting? In a database, what do you want to select? Whatever you select will be dependent on what is available, isn't it? I can't just tell you go and select, and then you go and select. What are you selecting? So while select is a keyword and a reserved word, it needs to go with other words that the user has defined within the database. Right? So reserved words are words that are fixed. They are a fixed part of the SQL language. Language. They have a fixed meaning. They have a fixed meaning. And must be spelled exactly as required. A mistake in the spelling of the keyword would create an error. So when you have errors showing in your query, one of the things you have to do is to check whether you've spelled your keyword correctly. That should be one of the first things you need to do. Must be spelled exactly as required and cannot be split across lines. Now, what do I mean by cannot be split across lines? Who can tell us what that could possibly mean? Yes, what can that mean? What could that mean?
Is it that it's written in a
Sorry,
particular...
one moment. I have a call. Let me just quickly tell them I can't speak. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, who can tell us what that could mean?
Is it that, it's kind of written in a particular order in a particular
No,
order?
when I say split across lines, split, I just want what you understand by this.
Does it mean to not have maybe an hyphen
Is
or a
this,
dash?
have I written select here?
Yes.
Okay. But they are on different lines, right?
Okay.
Right. So assuming that I got to the end of this and I wanted to write this at the end, sometimes when we are writing and then we get to the end of a line, we continue on the next line. And sometimes we put the hyphen there to show that we are continuing on the next line. Do you get that kind of, have you come across that before? I'm sure you would have.
Yes.
For those who take a lot of notes. Yeah, so that's being split across lines. You can't split the keywords across lines. Okay. Right. So they must be spelled exactly as they are. If you make an error in spelling, it would show an error on your application. User-defined words, on the other hand, as they are words that have been introduced by the user, can be written in any form. Right? They can be written in any form. However, once you've spelled a user, okay, let me see if I can get, let me see if I can get a query. Okay, let me not go there. Let me not show anything. So user-defined words are words introduced by the user. Introduced by the user. Now, they would normally represent, you see how if you see an Excel sheet, the columns, the different columns of an Excel sheet, you write the column names at the top of maybe in your first row, you write the column names, or first or second row, you write the column names, right? Now, these are names that you can write in any form, depending on what you want to display. Right? And it's just the same way that database schemas are represented in a relational database. We have the rows, we have the columns, right? The columns form what we call the fields. So these user-defined words which are introduced by the user are usually the names of the columns or the fields in the schema or in the database. The various database objects. Columns. Right. Columns of fields. Any questions so far? Another very important thing that you should note is that SQL statements are case insensitive. They are case insensitive. So, for example, all these keywords that we have here, all of them, not a single one, all of them are case insensitive, regardless of which management system you are using. It doesn't matter which management system you're using. So, for example, you would see that I have typed select. Select like this, using uppercase. I could as well type it like that, and it would work perfectly well. It would work perfectly. So that is one advantage that SQL has over other programming languages. So SQL is case insensitive, right? So this select here, let me just put, is the same as that, okay? It's the same. It doesn't matter how it is written. So long as the spelling is correct, it is the same. Because of this, we say that SQL is free format. You see that I'm mixing the characters now. I'm intentionally mixing them up. It's a free format language, right? Free format language. However, in spite of that, there are a few practices that need to be observed. Practices, will it be with the S or with the C? Practices, that would be the, yeah, bye-bye. Practices, I think is the verb, right? A few practices that need to be observed. What are these practices? 1. Each clause in a statement should begin on a new line. Remember when I said certain words cannot be split on lines? So each clause in a statement should begin on a new line. The beginning of each clause should line up with the beginning of other clauses. We would see this in practice. It may not make sense now, but we will see it in practice. The beginning of each clause should line up with the beginning of other clauses. Beginning is double N, right? Am I correct? Yes, I think so. With the beginning of other clauses. Now, if a clause has several parts, they should each appear on a separate line and be indented under the start of the clause to show the relationship. Again, you will see this in practice. So for example, let me do something here. So let's look at let's look at this. Take this for example, right? What I've just highlighted. I say this is SQL language. What are the keywords or SQL language keywords? Maybe that's what I should have put there. Keywords, SQL language keywords. Now we have then, so assuming, this is just an assumption that I'm making to explain what I want to, what I'm trying to put in number 3. Assuming this is the main clause, right? And so this is what we are talking about. This is the clause we are talking about. But this clause has got several parts. You understand? So this is the main clause. The several parts are arranged under the main clause, but are indented. You see that this starts from here. These other ones are indented into the page. Am I making sense? So they are indented into the page. And so you see that these here are of the same nature. They are related to that. All of these here are related to that. Is that making sense? Like I said, you will see this in practice when we actually use a management system. So If a clause has several parts, they should each appear on a separate line and be indented under the starts. That's the main clause, right? Of the clause to show the relationship. Okay. So like we just saw, these we would mainly be concentrating. Our main focus would be with data manipulation. In fact, we're not going to do anything about data definition. That is the job of the data, is it data architect or data engineer? Yeah, part of it will be the data engineer and then the data architect. So our main will be the query, data query language, but also data manipulation language, right? And though we would not use dwell on insert and update, it is good you know those things, because assuming you go into an organization and you are the first data person in that organization and they do not have a database, given you would be a data analyst or you are a data analyst in that organization, they might expect, because organizations can have high expectations of their employees. They expect employees to go the extra mile. So you might find yourself suddenly saddled with the responsibility of having to create a database. So sometimes it is good for you to know, not sometimes, always as a data analyst, it's good for you to know these things and how they work, right? Though you would not often use them, it is good you know. So the most commonly used SQL commands are these. These are the most commonly used SQL commands. As the name implies, select is used to query a database. Insert is used to insert a table, or is used to insert data into a table. Update is used to update data within a table. Delete is used to delete data from a table. Right? So all of these work within a table. Remember when I came to the word drop, I compared it to delete earlier on. And I said, this is one thing you seriously and really, really seriously don't want to do. To drop means to completely erase the table from the database. So if you happen to go and use the word drop without authorization, I don't even think any organization will want to drop data, no matter how bad it is. They may want to keep it for historical purposes. Unless, of course, there is something they really, really, really need to get rid of. Because once a table is dropped, there is no way, there's no rollback for a drop command.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, what's the difference between drop and delete? Are they not doing the same thing?
No, they are not.
Okay.
Delete is used within a table. Drop is used on the table. Do you get that? Drop is used on the table or on the database itself. So you are dropping everything that you reference within the command. You are getting rid of it completely. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, within a table and on the table. Yes, thank you.
Right. So these are the most commonly used SQL commands, and these are what we would want to focus on. And like I said, we wouldn't even have time to focus on insert, update, and delete. We will just focus, our main focus for this internship will be the select keyword. Select keyword. Right. Like I said, the select keyword it has a format. Right. So like I said earlier on, SQL keywords, SQL commands are case insensitive, right? But I prefer to make it beautiful, decide on what you want to do and then keep to it. So I prefer to have my keywords as caps. That's what I've used all the time. So I've become it's become part of me. If I want to write my keywords, I write them as caps. It doesn't mean I cannot write them as lowercase. But yeah, that's what I've always used. So it's more like what I like to use. So if you want to use lowercase, you are free to do that. But once you've selected a particular format, it's always good to stick to it so that your query becomes easily readable and makes sense to people. The general format. So first of all, what is the format? Yeah, so we are now going into some proper things. So the first thing is the select. Your query, your query would always start with the word select. Select. Now, what are you? So when you say select, you need to specify, like I said earlier on, what it is that you want to select. You either want to select everything, or you want to select certain things. Is that right? The next, so this is the format. This is, from here, we are getting into serious business, right? These are things you need to remember. You may decide to forget everything that I've talked about. All of this, you may decide to forget them, though it's good you remember. But this, from here, from now on, they are things you need to remember. So select what it is that you want to select. Now, where are you selecting these things from? So the next word is from. Now you need at this stage to specify the table name that you are selecting from. Right, another thing that I should have mentioned. In SQL, when you have two words like this, but of the same, meaning the same thing, I can have table and name to mean different things. But when I say table name, they mean just one thing, right? So when like this, they need to be, you need to have an underscore to show that they are related. So that should have come, I should have put that under here, somewhere here, right? Compound words are split by an underscore. So you select from a table, and then you need to name the table you are selecting from. Now, tables could also be named using what we call aliases, alias. So who are the people on this call? Let me see. I can't see your names because, okay, Paradise. Is Paradise still on the call?
Yes, I am.
Paradise, are you sleeping?
Nope. I answered you by, I forgot to unmute myself.
Okay, that's cool. No worries. I'm just pulling your legs. Paradise, do you have a nickname?
No, I don't.
You don't? Oh dear. So your friends always call you Paradise. They don't call you anything else.
Oh, my second name, they're all my official.
Okay, okay. I think aliases are more with we guys, we boys, Abi.
I
Baba
guess.
Jide. Jide,
Yeah.
do you have how do your friends normally call you?
Okay. My very old friends call me Jaido.
Jaido. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Jaido. Are you a DJ or something? I know a DJ
DJ.
called DJ Jaido. That's why I asked that question.
No, I'm not a
Jaido.
DJ.
Okay. Right. So you see, so if I say Jaido now, we all know who Jaido is on this group, right? Instead of calling him Babajide DA, I can simply say Jaido. And then he knows he's the one I'm referring to. Do we get that? So the table you select, where are you selecting from? That's the table name. Okay? Now, is your selection based on any conditions? That is, you have what is called the where clause. If there are conditions, they are stated under the where clause. Right? The next is to group. And this is you group by column. So having run a query, having selected what you want to select, the table you want to select from, the conditions that need to be met for the selection to happen, how do you now want to group your results? Then we have the having. This one is best explained when we are, this is also a condition, but a different kind of condition. And then finally, you order. This ordering is also done by column list. Right. So this is a general format of the select command. All of these from where, group by, having, order by are all related to select. They are all related to select. Let me do a bit of explanation of what these various words mean. So the word from, like I said, specifies a table. A table or tables to be used or to be selected from, right? It specifies table or tables to be used. Where? The where clause is a filter. A filter, which filters the roles subject to some condition. So, now group by Now this forms groups of rows with the same column value. Groups of rows with the same column value. Having, just like where, filters groups. It filters the groups subject to some condition, right? So the difference is where filters roles, having filters groups. You see, when you have grouped, using the group by, you can also run a filter on the group by to filter the group itself, right? So having filters filters the group, which would have been derived from the group by clause. And then order by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Order by. Now this specifies the order of the output. How do you want your output to look like? How do you want it to come out as? A common example is, do you want it to come out in ascending order, descending order, decreasing, things like that, right? Right. So you see, we have named, I haven't put the select here because so select basically, like you would know, is what is it that you are selecting, the things you are selecting, which is why I just haven't put it there. What are you looking for? What are you looking to see? What do you want? Maybe I should just put it. The fields required. The fields required in the output. Okay. So we've done a lot. We've spoken about a lot of keywords, from, where, group by, having, order by, select. But not all of these keywords are important. However, there are two that you cannot do without. Two of these keywords are very, very, very crucial. No matter what you do, you will need the select keyword, and then you would need the from keyword. So this order here cannot be changed. This order, the general order, this order here cannot be changed. It has to follow this order. Select, from, where, group by, haven, order by. But it is not every time that you would use all of these. But always you would use the first two. No matter what. You would use the first two. Unless, of course, you are not running a query. And there are other things you can do on the database without necessarily running a query. Let me write this in caps so that the order cannot be changed. However, not all the words are mandatory. Not all the keywords are mandatory. The only mandatory keywords are select and from. Okay? These are the only ones that are mandatory. Any questions so far?
None from my end.
Okay, let me go back. Let me see the people we have here. Somebody's dropped off the call. Somebody's dropped off the call. Oh, I think that's Juliet. Okay. Is Juliet your mentor or your buddy?
She's one of the mentors.
Yeah, she's very, very good. She's a very, 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 very good data analyst. So hold on tightly to Juliet, okay?
Okay.
Any question, Paradise?
No, none from my end.
Okay, Adao Lisa? Any question, Ada?
I'm sorry, I can't talk much. I'm at work. I dropped a
Okay,
message.
okay, cool. No worries, no worries, no worries, don't worry. Ayobami?
Yeah,
Ayobami?
like Madal Lisa said in the chat. Can we have access to these notes?
Of course, that's what I'm going to post it on the group.
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
send it to you once we are done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to you. And
I
then
think
you would
what you've
also,
been
the
saying is-
recording would also be posted to you. So you would have access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Babajide, any question?
No question.
EB, any question?
What I wanted to ask was the difference between MySQL and SQL,
Okay,
or are they the same?
okay. See, I'll come back to your let me follow this down and then I'll come back to that question, okay? Olabanji Aduroja. I like that name, Aduroja. Let's stand and fight.
No question.
No question.
Yeah.
Oyidamola.
No question.
Fumi M. Is that Fumi Mambora? Who is that? Fumi M. Who is that? Fumi. Who is Fumi? Is that Fumi Mambora? Is that my Oga?
Yes, it's yoga. I was trying to unmute
My Oga
myself.
is hiding in the corner.
No, I just said I should pop in and see
My
what was
Oga is
going on.
hiding in the corner watching me. Okay, well, let me behave myself.
No, you're doing great, honestly.
Good, good, good. Okay, so no questions so far. Let's see. Somebody asked the question. Let me answer that question first. Somebody asked, what's the difference between MySQL? I think I explained that earlier on. I said that a database, there's no point having a database without being able to use the database efficiently and effectively. Now, to do that, to use a database efficiently and effectively, you need what is called a database management system. So remember, in the old days, I don't know how old we all are here, but there was a time ago when you go to the library would go and bring out a library card. You go to the library, you want to borrow a book. You take the book to the librarian, they will bring out the library card and then make a log in the notebook that Mr. XYZ has taken a book. They say when Mr. XYZ will return the book and all that. So those ones were hard copied, hard management systems. They were not effective enough. So though a database will be there for tracking who has taken which book, and when they return it, it is logged back. But is it really effective? How many pages would you have to turn before you know who took which book? Assuming you have 1 million books in a library, how do you keep track of all those things? So when you have a database, which is separate from the management system, you need a management system to effectively and efficiently manage your database. So all these here, SQL Server Management Studio, DB2, PostgreSQL, MySQL, they are all management systems. They are not databases. Get the difference. The database is the data, the data within the system which you work on. That is the database. These ones are management systems which you use in working on the database. Do you understand that? Who asked that question? Do I make myself, am I clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
So which management system are we going to be?
We will be
use
using
this?
SSMS.
Okay.
We'll be using SSMS. And so there's very little. SSMS is a little bit more robust than MySQL. So my SSMS will take a larger and higher volume of data than MySQL. But even if you are using MySQL, I mean, you're not going to be dealing with trillions of rows, so you can still work on it.
Okay, but is the syntax for MySQL different from
Remember, I
SSMS?
said SQL is portable, and I explained that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
SQL is a portable language. So what that means is that it can be used on this, on that, on that, on that, unlike most other programming languages. There are a few programming languages that have got issues with portability, but SQL is not one of those. It's a very, very portable language. So long as you have a management system, it would work, right? There are only slight differences. There could be only slight differences in syntax. For example, whilst some management systems would allow you to get away with maybe putting a comma, others may not, right? So those are slight, very, very slight differences, not major differences. So by and large, all these would work, SQL would work very well on any of these. So remember I said, if you know how to use one, it's like you know how to use all.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Yes, understood.
Any other question? It's almost 11 o'clock. I don't want to go beyond this. So we're going to really start. Next lesson, we would actually use the management system. We would use, I'm hoping that by then like you said, Mr. Emmanuel has given you he has asked you to install SSMS, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no point
Yeah.
asking you to do the same with the same system we would use. And he has also given you some data, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So once you've installed your SSMS and uploaded with data, we can have a mix of your data and other data. For teaching so let me just make some explanation here. The database that you have been given at the moment is specifically for Power BI. But for teaching purposes of SQL, I would also have a different data set. We would run the two in parallel. Okay, you run the two data sets in parallel so that you have a good understanding of how SQL really works. Okay.
Yes.
Any further question? If there's no further question, we have just 6 minutes left. I would like to bring this to a close. And I'm going to send this to you now. Let me just who should I send it to post?
I think any of us can post it.
Pardon? I'm not on your group yet. That's why I said
Juliet
allow
can
me.
help us or allow me.
Yeah,
Or you can send.
I'll send it to allow me to post. Yeah.
All right.
Don't send it to Paradise. Allow me is a long time, please.
She's what?
Oh, okay, you can send it to
Send
me
it to
and I'll post
Paradise.
it in the group.
Okay. But before you post the video, I'm sure Olaomi would like to format it in a particular way. There's a particular way that Blue Sky wants videos to be formatted before it gets posted. Okay. So before you post the video, speak to Olaomi. Okay.
All right. She already taught us how to do that, so I'll process the video.
Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. So I'll send you this one, and then you can post it. All right.
Okay.
If there is no more question, can I wish all of you a very good night and a happy and blessed weekend?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you
Yes.
going to send this to me via chat here or Telegram or email?
You see, I don't even have your details. I can't get in touch with you.
Okay, I'll
That's
send you my email on the chat.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Paradise, stop recording, okay?
Oh, all right.